And Gary, so I think one thing that probably like the entire world want to know is like, so you have this ability to find yourself in a horrible position, get out, and go to a great position. That, by the way, is the entire structure that we are doing.
Sure.
How did you develop that? Is that something that you do on training, like you let people get your submission holds and that kind of stuff? How is it?
Yeah, so there's like a lot to it. Like I mentioned it in the DVD, but like there's something special about escaping submissions that's a little different, I think, than most of what we do in jiu-jitsu, because you have to force yourself to practice it. Like every other part of jiu-jitsu, for the most part, it's like pretty organic. It's like you have to pass the guard. Like you have to try to take somebody's back. You're going to eventually have to try your own submission holds. Otherwise you can't progress, right? But you don't have to try to learn how to escape things unless you're in a position early on in jiu-jitsu, like when you're a white belt, blue belt, where people are constantly putting you in submissions. That's probably the phase of jiu-jitsu where people spend the most time learning how to defend submissions. But after that, once you learn enough preventative strategies to like, all right, well, I know how to protect my arms. I know how to protect my neck. Now every roll, how often do you really find yourself in submission danger? Probably not that much. So in order to keep that skill equal to all these other skills that you're building, I have to go, all right, well, this roll, I'm either going to start in a fully locked armbar or I'm going to do something in the roll to give my training partner the arm. And this is something that from an early stage, you know.
Parenthesis here. So you do that against everybody, or against like the guys who are lower level than you. But if you go against Gordon and start with the fully armor, that'd be fun.
I think both are important. Like it's obviously at the beginning when you're first starting, it's you know what? It's not even so much as important the level of the person. It's more important the level of control they have, right? Because like I could go with a white belt, and if he's like just like an angry spaz, and even though he's not good and just rips the arm, well, now I'm in trouble, right? Like Gordon, like he knows like when an arm is going to break. So like even though he's probably going to tap me, he's not going to hurt me. He's going to slowly go through it. So it's like I think the important thing is to find training partners that you can train with in a safe enough way where you can give them a locked out submission and like like, all right, this guy's going to protect me. Like he's going to lock it out to the point where I could get hurt, but he's not going to take it any further than that. And I think it's like, that's where like teamwork in jiu-jitsu kind of comes in, right? Like it's a very individual sport, but it takes a collaborative group of people to like make an athlete like better. Because if you didn't have that, you just had a bunch of scumbags training with you, trying to like rip your shit off all the time. It's kind of tough to go on. But yeah, so I would put myself in bad positions all the time. You know, from the beginning, Tom used to tell me like, hey man, you know, it's a super important, like you got to learn how to get out of bad positions. And then furthermore, you know, when I was with John, he explained that like, you know, it's kind of like the fundamental basis of what we do. It's like, you know, if you can't escape bad position, what are we even here for? Because once you get put in a bad spot, it's over, right? And now, once you get good at all those defenses, it opens your offense up so much more. Now I can do moves where like, all right, it exposes my back a little bit. So what? If I get put in the back, like I'll get out. You know, oh, it exposes my arm a little bit. Well, no big deal. Like I'll be able to find a way out of there. And it just gives you so much more confidence to try. Like, you know, you talk about like me being exciting and doing like, you know, a lot of crazy moves and stuff like that. It makes it a little easier to do things like that because now there's less risk involved. The more risk I can take away, the more I can take risk. If that makes sense. It sounds like it doesn't make sense, but it does.
Because at the ADCC, we were there, and there was just like a flock of people would go all the way over to your matches. All of them were just like these action-packed Mickey Ward Gotti type, like to boxing and just back and forth. But you put yourself in some crazy danger, and next thing you know, you're out of it. And that's when the crowd is like, you get those deep, like, oh, and then back and forth.
No, and there is nothing worse when you're competing jiu-jitsu than getting a submission and letting it go. Because the person who is getting out gets out like 1,000,000%, and you are completely frustrated. So and that's your thing. So you probably get out like 2,000,000%, like ready to kill the guy.
It can be very frustrating, I think, for certain people. You know, because this is a weird thing to brag about, but I'm going to brag about it anyway. I think if you take a look at my matches, more so than any other athlete like that's ever existed, I probably get my back taken like more often than, or guard passed, whatever you want to say, more often than any other athlete. Now, when you look at that at face value, you would say to yourself, like, all right, well, if that happens, like, you know, he must suck. It's like, but saying that, if I have my back taken more often than anybody else, why am I not getting submitted? Like, why is that person on my back, is that not resulting in the end of the match every single time? And these are questions that people should ask themselves. like the true value of jiu-jitsu, in my opinion, is to be able to do damage. Like, and this is something that John has preached to us, like once I started going over there, is that like, it's a martial art. We should be able to have tools to defeat our opponents, not just like pin them, you know, because pinning it's not final. Like, unless you can pin, like in MMA, now I can hit people when I pin them. So pins are a little bit more valuable. But if you can't, then you don't have a way to actually, you know, end the match. Like, let's say I get in a confrontation on the street. It's like, yeah, I can hold somebody in side control, but that doesn't end the confrontation per se, right? Like, submitting somebody does, you know, strangling somebody, that's the king of the submissions. That ends the confrontation. So it's like super, super important to me to be able to be both good offensively and defensively.
And I think the statistics showed that at this past ADCC, your squad had the most submissions by far.
Yes, I believe so. I think it was a pretty drastic difference, because I think Atos probably was like next in terms of medals, maybe, but the submission rate was completely off.
I think, Bernard, the year you won in 2015, you had the most submissions at Worlds, right?
Yeah, as a guy, I think I just didn't submit one match.
Bernardo submits a lot of people. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, with the legs too. So
So in really impressive ways.
You are. But Gary, one thing that calls me the attention about you and Gordon is that, like, when lights are on, looks like you guys really enjoy that. And I remember when you competed against Gillen, he was my teammate at that time, and there was a ton of hype for that match.
Sure.
And was right in the first match of the tournament. First or second, right?
I have a feeling they probably did that on purpose. The ADCC guys, I see what they're trying to do. You know what I mean? Like, I think they get excited by that stuff as much as we do.
For sure.
You know?
But then, like, what goes on, I think all the users would love to hear that. What goes on your mind on that time? Like, first match, the match that has the biggest hype, what were you thinking? Like,
oh man, you know, I was excited. It's funny, like, you know, we're bringing it back to the Dylan match, but even when in the Canuto match, it was very similar. Like, we could kind of parallel the two, because I had like a previous match with, no, I didn't have a previous match with Dylan. I think that was my first match with Dylan, but there was, like you said, there was some conflict, right, before the match. Same thing with Canuto, you know, a bunch of conflict, a little bit of back and forth. We had a match before that. It was a match that I wasn't happy about. There were some things that happened there. So, both were kind of similar, and like, I came out in both of those matches with just like a mindset of like, I can't, as much as I screw around sometimes, and like I'm playing like very, very loose. In both of those matches, I was like, no, like, I have to win. Like, I have to crush these guys. Like, I really want to go out there, and I want to show everybody what I'm capable of. Because sometimes, like, when I go out, I have just a different mindset. It's like, I go out there and I'm like, all right, let's see what my opponent's going to do first. Now I'm going to counter him, you know. But with those matches, I went in there to win, you know, and that was the thing that was most present in my mind.
No,
it was really, but like you said though, it was really like, brought a different level of energy into those matches. Like you said, like, I was excited to be there. It's like, all right, this is what I live for, you know?
No, I got it.
Yeah.
No, that's incredible. Yeah, and there are some people that when that time comes, they shrink, and others they boom.
Yeah.
And you're one of the ones that grows on that time.
Because in all fairness, Renato's an incredible competitor too. So to have the two of you get there, I mean,
no, and Renato's kind of same style. Like, he's like the showman. He doesn't like
and you both really want to win. So like, who really wins out of the fans?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
It's always cool to have a match where both guys are really trying to win. Not like really trying to win, like, I'm just gonna like clam up and like maybe I score my points and I hold out, like, all right, like, I really want to submit this guy.
Yes.
I really want to like get my attacks off on this guy. It's always, that's what creates the most exciting matches. People are always looking, oh, what's the best rule set? You know, what rules can we make that's gonna make matches exciting? It's like, it's not really the rules, it's the grapplers. You know, you have one guy that doesn't want to participate in a grappling match, you know, and I'm just like shell up like this. All of a sudden, the match isn't that exciting.
No, I agree.
You talk about, I shut him down.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
As far as, but you really feel though it's your defense that gives you the courage and the wherewithal to get in there and kind of let it all hang out, just so to speak. I
look at it as foundational. Like that's your, to me, like that's your building block. It's like, because every time you screw up, like everything you mess up, I mess up my guard pass, I mess up my arm lock, or whatever the case may be. The worst case scenario is you ending up in a submission or ending up in a pin. And if you're not really, really good at getting out of those, if you're not like supremely confident in your ability to recover, it makes it so much harder to do all the other movements of the sport. Because you're like the anxiety, like things that you're talking about, like some people shrink under the pressure and things like that. that anxiety builds up because you feel like you can't do the task that's at hand.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
If you
screw up a little bit less.
Yeah, if you like done it 1,000 times, you're like, oh man, like even if I screw this up, I can recover. Actually, that's one thing that I do. Like, so a lot of people visualize before they compete, right? They'll be like, okay, I'm going to visualize myself. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to take his back. I'm going to strangle. This is my game plan. This, that, and the other thing. I do something very different. And I'm sure other people do this as well, but this is something that I think is somewhat unique to me. I don't like to visualize just that I go in and destroy the competition. I very rarely just do that, because what happens is when you go out there and compete, you find out, hey, this is a living, breathing human being that also bleeds like I do. Yeah. He's tough. Like, he's a game opponent. Like, I'm not gonna just walk on and crush this guy. No. You know, I'm not Gordon Ryan. No, but you know, so when you encounter a struggle, it's like, oh wait, I wasn't expecting this, because you've just been visualizing dominating.
That makes sense.
So when I go in,
too optimistic, right?
Yeah, when I go in, I go like, all right, I want to visualize attacking my opponent, then getting put in the worst position possible, getting out and still winning the match, being down by 4 points and then taking his back and submitting him. And these are the kinds of things that go through my head, so that it prepares me like, no, this is what we prepared for. Like, you knew he was good at taking the back. You knew he had a good arm bar. Like, that, no problem. You're going to get out of this. You're going to recover. You're going to get back. And that, I think that helps me a lot in MMA as well. Because in MMA, there's just so many question marks, so many bad things that could potentially happen, that I need that. I'm like, all right, well, maybe I get knocked down by a punch, and like, I still got this. Like, I still got a way to recover and beat this guy. Maybe he takes me down. Like, I still think I can find a way to victory, instead of just being like, all right, I'm gonna go out there, one punch, got this. You know what I mean?
Because if you don't knock him out, then you think,
then you get nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah.